Hello, everybody. This is Jacob Sapochnik, and you're listening to the Enchanting Lawyer Podcast. This is a show where we interview the most inspiring entrepreneurs, business people, and just interesting people from all over the world that inspire us to do our job better. And today I'm very honored actually to have a very special guest. Our guest today is John DiJulius, and John is considered to be the authority on world-class customer service. He's an international customer experience consultant and author of many books. He works with world-class companies like the Ritz-Carlton, Lexus, Starbucks, Nordstrom, Nestle, and many, many, many other companies. He's not just talking about it, he lives it. A very successful entrepreneur himself, 2 companies, John Roberts Spa, chain of upscale Cleveland locations, repeatedly named the top 20 salons in America, and the DiJulius Group, customer experience consulting firm that uses his methodology to provide world-class customer service. And John, welcome to the show. I'm very excited to have you here today.
Thank you, Jacob. I'm thrilled to be here.
Very good. And I went through one of the things that I do in addition to having the podcast. We have a boutique law firm here in San Diego, about 30 employees, and one of the things that we've been doing in the past few years is actually focusing on the service, how we actually treat our clients. Whether we are doing, hopefully we're doing good legal work, but customer service has become really something that I've been obsessed about. And when I looked at your book, and to me it was kind of like, wow, this is really what I was talking about all these years. And the book, your latest book is The Customer Service Revolution: Overthrow Conventional Business, Inspire Employees, and Change the World. And I want you to first of all tell us a little bit about yourself and explain to us what is a customer service revolution.
Well, Jacob, I think you introed me pretty well. I'm an entrepreneur. I started my first business 23 years ago, and out of necessity of like you wanting to differentiate ourselves through the customer experience, I just became a student, and then our business just started growing so fast as a result, and we were, expensive, and so wrote my first book, Secret Service, that came out in 2003, and then it just propelled me into, originally first the speaking industry, and then now we have a consulting firms, differentiating themselves to the customer experience.
Right. And so when you mention in the book customer service revolution, why do you call this a revolution and what it is?
Which is designed to transform what employees and customers experience. And, this shift produces a culture that permeates into people's personal lives, at home, and makes price irrelevant. So, that's what we find. The companies that commit to this don't have to chase price. They don't have to be worried about the bottom feeders. As you said, they better be great at the expertise, but there's a lot of smart lawyers out there, right? There's a lot of smart consultants out there, and if that's all you are, you're a commodity. But if you can build that customer experience, and we're not just talking about obviously the service provider to the client, right? The lawyer to the client. It's everyone that's touching the client. The receptionist. Anyone I'm coming in contact. The is consistently exceeding my expectations.
And it's one of the things that I noticed that you've been talking about in your presentations is that you continue to point people to the fact that the state of service, the rules of customer service are constantly changing. It's not something that you have to evolve with times. And I'm curious to get your take. 2015, what is the state of service today, and some of the new rules that you observed in your book and beyond that we need to be aware of?
Well, listen, the first thing that we as business and leaders have to understand is how good any of our businesses, customer services, and the level comes down to one thing and one thing only: the service aptitude of the associate that may be starting next week. And here's the paradigm shift that we have to have. None of us, myself, you, Jacob, none of us had high service aptitude when we entered the work world. The service aptitude gets dictated by three places. One, previous life experiences. So, most of us growing up didn't stay at five-star resorts, didn't, fly first class, didn't drive, understand what that looks like. Yet, when we hire people, we tell them go out and treat customers well or exceed expectations, but they don't know what that is. The second place service aptitude gets dictated is previous work experiences. And unless you have a pipeline directly to Disney, Nordstrom's, the Ritz-Carlton, everyone that's working for us in the future,
right,
and they may have been, brainwashed to, not trust customers and not, do the stuff that we want them to do. And so we can't control the first two. The only third place that people get service aptitude shaped is current work experiences. And what I mean by that is, when we hire someone, I don't care if it's a lawyer, receptionist, whomever,
right,
how much training are we giving them on the hospitality side of how we greet, how we treat, the non-negotiables, the customer interaction, the engagement, to be expecting that Jacob is going to be walking in at 2:00. Greet him. Know that he likes, Diet Pepsi. Ask him how, his trip to Europe was, whatever that may be. So that, the way let me wrap up a long answer. It is not the employee's responsibility to have high service aptitude. They won't. It's a responsibility to make sure they have it.
It's. I feel that it's something that it's hard to put in the head of a company owner and trickle it down to the entire team, because it's something that has to be consistently talked about. You don't just say, we got to be great at customer service, we got to be doing this. It has to become part of the culture. And, John, I heard Peter Shankman speak several times, and one of the things he says, and it kind of stuck in my mind, is he says, treat your customer one level above crap. You probably heard that. And it kind of sticks in your head, because most people are doing the minimum. And if you do just a little bit more and consistently do that, you may reach a certain level of customer service that people remember you by it, right? Yeah,
I absolutely agree. What I don't prescribe to is my frontline employees, my new employees, want to be treated. Because if you think about it, most of the time, there's a disconnect between, who we're serving. A lot of times it's a different age. Different economics, so, I don't want that. And to be honest, and it's not going to be a surprise to you, this is why you're having me on the call, we can pick on frontline employees a lot. Weakest professional service people that have low service aptitude is any business industry that deals with medical, financial, technology, and legal. Right? And so you ask yourself, why? What is legal, lawyers, doctors, CPAs, and IT people have in common? Well, they're smart. That's not the problem. But they had to put in amount of schooling, right, to just get in, right? Law school, medical school, all those. And it's not like once you entered, and got, past the bar, you were done. You're constant. Things are changing, it seems by the day, right? So it's not like you can, say, all right, I got my license and I can stop, So two things. One, there wasn't a whole lot of time to learn the other stuff. And the second thing is, in those industries, because of, the high intelligence, doctors, lawyers, accountants, we could become, clients should just be happy that, how smart we are. But to be honest, my accountant who saved me $25,000 last year on some tax loophole. While I appreciate that, I'm pretty sure most accountants I would choose to go to would know that same tax loophole. So your financial brilliance or your legal brilliance by itself is just a commodity. I need a relationship. I need that you know me, that you treat me like a human being.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And, it's again, we can find many good professionals, but the service, the feeling comfortable, being able to pick up the phone and call them whenever is convenient is these are extras that customer service is actually allowing us to do. And, you mentioned in the book something interesting, and maybe you can explain that. You said, build your company's customer experience as if no customer has bad intentions. What did you mean by that?
Most people do it the opposite way. They create all these policies and agreements and whatever it may be, because they're so worried about the 1-2% taking advantage of them. And so now they have all these you walk into any store, and all the bathrooms are only for customers, and if you bounce a check, there'd be a $30 fee. All this crazy stuff that is really turns people off. So when you're building your customer experience, a model, build it as if no customers had bad intentions. And treat them, with the respect and all that. And obviously, you can have some filters, But here's my thing: don't punish 98% of the customers for what you're afraid 2% are going to try to get away with. Personally, I'm not smart enough to know which 2%. So instead of being suspicious with everyone, I'm okay with if I get taken advantage 2% of the time. Because what I get back from the 98% that can't believe how well we treated them, handled them, trusted them.
And they feel that it's different than other companies that have all these rules and say, if you do this, you do this. We give them the credit from the start. This is great. I like that.
Absolutely.
And so, a lot of in the previous books, talking about customer service, we mentioned it in the beginning of the show. We can't do this alone. So how do we get our employees to be part of this? And like I said, in your book, you have a chapter that talks about how do you get employees out of bed in the morning and rush into work. Because if they're not happy to come, they're probably not going to be very good customer service experience for our clients. So how do we do this, the vision and the motivation? And I'm curious myself, running a small practice here.
That's a great question, and so we have to, I'm sorry, the currency for millennials is purpose. And, right. I get so sick of everyone beating up on millennials. I'll be honest. I think the millennials are the greatest generation to come along as work.
I agree.
As long as you connect them to the purpose. So, I'm working, at a law firm and whatever I may be, that's a job. I'm not, a job's a job. But we help companies do, and there's a chapter in there. Before we create the customer service vision statement, we create a day in the life of a customer. So we all get
right.
numb. We all get numb to our customers. And, we're dealing with customers all day. Law firm is dealing with, customers, clients are calling you, where are we at with this, and, some, are trivial compared to others. But to them, that trivial, or, an argument over a $250, bill or whatever the heck it is important to them. So what we do is we, help companies create a day in the life of a customer, stories in only a few minutes of each of your client, what they may be going through, right? At home, at work,
Now, you're talking about actual clients or the avatar of the client?
Hypothetically. Listen, a lot of times they are actual clients, right? But the stories are.
Right. But
you create this video, and I have a law firm that did this, and they created a video of a day in the life of a customer, and so you watch this video of 12 short. He's and what's going on in his life. And, you hear all this, and all of a sudden, I mean, it'll make you cry when you watch these, right? They're all, it's an emotional roller coaster. But what happens is it makes the employee have empathy and compassion. So when that client calls, you're more present, right? You're not treating him just as next. You're thinking maybe that could be the Jacob in that video I saw who, found out his wife is sick or his kid has this or, whatever. Creating a customer service vision statement, which is not something that gets advertised to the public, the clients. It only gets advertised to the employees. And as you said, it gets them to jump out of bed and want to come to work because they're part of this. So, a customer service vision statement is what we are here to do for our clients on a daily interactive basis.
And the reason you're saying that their customers shouldn't see it is because there are some things there that only employees should know. Well,
we don't want to create it as this marketing slogan that we put on a billboard, right? We have those, and that's great. But it's more for me to understand as your employee, what's my responsibility when I interact with the client, be it on the phone, in an email, or face-to-face. And, that's really what it's for. It's to get me to understand that I have a responsibility to do every time with everyone, not just once in a while. And, it might be, owning the moment and providing, peace of mind, right? That one of my law firms, that's their service vision. Own the moment. Right? It's about the moment. So when you call and you're checking, and maybe it's the 5th time you've called this week, and I told you I'd call you next week, right? You guys have that all the time.
Of course.
If I understood what you were going through and the bills piling up and, whatever your situation is, man, I'd be doing the same. So it's about, being present.
Walking in the shoes of the client.
Right.
No, this is very powerful because again, if once the service provider understands what the customer is going through, it's going to be much more difficult for them to not give them the service they deserve because they're going to be, they could be in their shoes. Very powerful.
Exactly.
So, in your previous books, I think Secret Service and the previous writing you've done, you talked about the creation of the emotional connection, between the customer and the service provider that creates the loyalty. Are there any things that you can talk about that and maybe some tips or how do we do that?
Yeah, so in a law firm or any professional, we got to build the relationship. So, everyone thinks they have a relationship with their clients. But, here's how you prove it. Tell me 2 or more things of Ford. F-O-R-D, like the car, Ford. And what that stands for is recreation and dreams. Family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. If you know 2 or more things of my Ford, of your client's Ford, you own me. That's everyone's Ford is what's most important to them. That's what they get excited to talk about. That's what gets their eyebrows. Too often we just treat people as a transaction. We have a law firm that we work with, Carter Mario, out of Connecticut. They are world class. They do things my spa doesn't do. They have a pre-shift huddle they share Ford. So they say, all right, if you happen to see Jacob, they'll have Jacob's picture on the screen. Carter Mario welcomes Jacob for his 10 o'clock appointment. So now, when that door opens, the receptionist knows, who Jacob is. She's like, oh, welcome back, Jacob, or whatever. And then, hey, he likes Diet Coke, or he's a snowboarder, or whatever he is. But that's we got to build those little relationships that don't take any longer, but definitely build the relationship and the emotional capital that it doesn't matter how many lawyers I ever meet out at parties, or business. You're my guy, right? You know me. You care.
You remember that.
Right.
Wow. This is beautiful. And these are little things. And most people don't think about that. But, people will remember that. I love that. John, it's as we come to the end of our show, a couple of things I wanted to ask you. First of all, maybe one or two tips for dealing with unhappy customers. So, we try to give customer service, but things fall through. What do we do when they're not happy?
Well, first thing is respond, right?
Mm-hmm.
Respond. And just that right there, we don't do with clients enough, but especially people who aren't happy. Respond, take ownership. They're trying to get away with something.
Absolutely.
You could have more of a loyal customer from fixing something that went wrong than if nothing went wrong. Right? So you can't, you're disappointed we didn't handle something well, or, one of my attorneys didn't call you back, whatever it may be. And I reach out to you and I'm like, Jacob, I apologize. That's unacceptable. Blah, 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 blah. Hard. Thank you for sharing that with me. You might be more impressed now with me and my law firm than had nothing gone wrong, because I demonstrated that I'm zero risk.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean we'll never, screw up. Zero risk means that you never have to worry about it if we screw up. We'll always take care of it.
We own it.
Exactly. And, we don't get in the, he said, she said, and make the customer wrong, not happy.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. I love that. So, John, as we end our show right now, one thing that you want to leave our listeners with, it could be a tip, it could be a suggestion, or anything that you want to share with us as we end our show?
I love this quote that hospitality is not an act; it's a lifestyle.
Wow.
It's not an act; it's a lifestyle. Now, sometimes I'll bring up the hospitality word to lawyers and accountants, and they're like, "Oh, we're not in the hospitality business." Yes, you are, right? Everyone is in the hospitality business, and what we need to focus on is be world-class at delivering genuine hospitality, and just happen to have really smart attorneys versus the other way around, right? Be in the hospitality business. What if the Ritz-Carlton tomorrow decided to, get in a law firm?
Right.
What would that be like? You know what that would be like, and it would probably scare the hell out of a lot of people, because they'd find and hire really smart attorneys, but man, they'd be like concierges and bellmen and just world-class experience. So hospitality is not an act; it's a lifestyle. It's how we treat each other. It's how we should be treating a stranger in the elevator and at home to our spouses and kids and neighbors.
I love that. Beautiful. Thank you so much, John, for taking the time to be a guest on the show. We're going to link the book in our show notes, as well as the website of your company. And I wish you a beautiful Friday, and look forward to staying connected.
Thank you so much, Jacob. I appreciate it.
And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in every week, sending your emails and questions.